Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TNT Thursday Night Throwdown live podcast. We are here with some very special guests today. We have Michael, we have Delvon, Jojo, Tuane, and Sam. Welcome to the show, guys. How are we doing?
Doing
good.
Oh, good.
So, for those of you who are new to our channel here, we love to talk everything tech, life, opinions, you name it, we talk about it. And we've got a couple of really interesting things to talk about this week. In particular, the big kind of event that we saw this week was the release of the OnePlus 11 and the OnePlus Pad. So can we do it? Let's talk the other way around for a second. Let's talk about the OnePlus Pad. So ridiculous price point. Looks
Do we know the
great.
price? Do we
No,
have
I don't think we know.
$7.99?
I heard it was $7.99, but I wasn't
$7.99
sure.
was what
And
the,
someone said it came with the keyboard and the stylo, but some people say it doesn't come with it. It's separate.
So
Where
from
did you
what
see?
I saw it up on. It was up. It might have been like a Verge or Engadget thing. They had the price listed. It was $7.99. I believe it comes with like a pre-order bonus, which could be the keyboard or the stylus. That's a lot of money for a tablet, especially an Android tablet.
Did you see the early
I
hands-on
was
with
hoping
it?
it would be around 500.
Yeah, I agree with
see,
JoJo.
yeah.
$500. The hands-on said it was really buggy, but it's early release. They said the Dimensity 9000 is not a slouch. It's a pretty
not at all.
Yeah, it's very comparable to the
Yeah.
Gen 1, but I don't know. Coming out of the gate for your first tablet, swinging that high it better be damn well good.
Yeah.
And it says it has special features with the OnePlus 11, but who? Again, I ordered the OnePlus 11, but how many people actually did? You know,
He's the
That's
only
the
one.
question.
No, just,
So
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
pretty much.
I don't know. How much is an iPad Pro in the United States? Like, what does that retail at? Does anyone know?
So
$9.99.
11 inch.
Yeah, if we went just like the lowest model iPad Pro.
So if you were to buy an 11-inch iPad Pro lowest model, and then if you were to throw in like the Magic Keyboard case and the pen, you would be looking at about $1,200
So I mean,
Just one kidney.
after
one
tax.
kidney.
I mean, it's like
Yeah,
$1,150 because it's
it's $7.99 for the iPad.
$7.99
itself,
for the
though.
tablet,
Right.
and
Yeah,
then you have like $250 for the. So it's about another $400 on top of it for the Magic
so
Keyboard. and the pen.
realistically, they're swinging their bat at the iPad Pro. Which
And
I don't
$7.99
know.
is not bad with a keyboard and a stylus. If it does come with both those,
Yeah,
it's
if it
not
comes with the
terrible.
bundle, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess what it really boils down to, and this might be also true for the phone, is that are we as consumers willing to trust OnePlus again? I know, I've had OnePlus devices right up until last year's 10 and 10T. I don't know. I almost feel like we're looking at a dying star. I feel like they might have just kind of had their moment in the sun and they're trying to rekindle some of this. But I mean, you look at something like even their OnePlus 11, like some of those omissions they made with that device to get the price down.
But that's what they're known for. That's what they're known for, though. When they first came out with the phone, that was a killer phone at a killer price, and they always cut things out. I would be okay with that if, like, I don't know if you guys watched. There was a video on, I forget who, Fisher. What's
Michael Fisher?
Yeah, he did a great video, and it's like they're not consistent. They change things here and there, and they're looking for something. And there's a reason why the guy who developed OnePlus ducked out and made his own company.
Yeah,
probably thought that his time there, the product had run its course. I think the OnePlus, the tab, whatever you want to call it, the pad, that's their entry into a new category, hoping to survive. They guarantee 4 years of OS updates and 5 years security, which is fantastic. But what if they go out of business in 2 years? Like LG did all of a sudden.
I always thought sorry, Mike. I was just going to say I always thought the OnePlus story was going to end with them becoming Oppo, like just taking.
You would hope so, actually.
Well, I mean, taking their market share, which is probably very low in the United States, but they're in there. They have their foot in the door, and I just figured at some point they would say, you know what, OnePlus not really selling for us. Let's pivot into maybe going just the Oppo route and see what happens, right?
What are you going to say, Mike? Go ahead, Mike. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I actually just had the realization, and this kind of makes me think of 1986 to 86 to 1997 Apple, when like Steve
Yeah.
Jobs was gone. But because Apple was experimenting, like if you look at like the Macs and stuff that they were doing some really weird things, and they even did like the titanium MacBooks and some really weird stuff where they were experimenting all over the place. And Steve Jobs was gone and developed his own company and did all this crazy stuff, and then they wanted him back. Except for OnePlus is not getting, Carl Pie is not. He's not going to come back.
No, he's not.
So
no.
they've lost him. It would be like if Steve Jobs stayed at Next and never came back to Apple and just did his own thing. And I think the problem really is, they're under BBK and they can't decide which aspects of each company they want to incorporate, and they're not necessarily incorporating the competitive ones. Like the fast charging is cool, but like take the cameras from Vivo and like their V1 chip. It's going to smoke every other product that's available
100%.
pretty much anywhere around the world.
Here's the problem. Us in here in the United States, we use our phones differently than those in China. So Vivo, Oppo, all those companies do well there because they're tailored to their use cases. But OnePlus can't necessarily just say, "Oh, here's an Oppo phone. We're going to rebrand it because the software won't work in there. It won't work over here. It just won't. We don't use we don't have notifications killed off in every app because of battery life. We don't use Weibo. We don't use a lot of those Chinese. So I think that's part of the issue, that they're struggling to find a happy medium where they can just grab a folding Oppo phone and slap their name on it. So I think it's a little more complicated than that.
It's pretty much this simple in the US. Who are the carriers carrying in their stores?
Right.
Samsung, Apple, Pixels.
Yeah.
What are the 3 top selling brands in the United States when it comes to engagement with consumers? Samsung,
BlackBerry,
Apple, and then OnePlus tried to break into the U.S. market, and that the gatekeeping to the U.S. market is carriers.
Yeah. Well, and they started out strong. They really did.
I think T-Mobile, right?
They lost their way along the way. They had to have.
But I mean, I think even if OnePlus came out with stellar products, that's why you'll never see Oppo, Vivo. None of these markets are going to come in the United States. They cannot. They're lost. It's too late. It's over. Yeah. It's going to be a little bit of Moto. Yeah. They've watched LG fall. They've watched HTC fall. And in the United States, it's a lose. It's just a lose, folks. Yeah. And so that's the end of it. And then OnePlus will eventually not be available in the U.S. market, or it'll be so low priority they won't even prioritize it. It'll be in India, China, the Mideast, Europe, maybe.
Well, it's funny that you say that. It's funny that you say that because one of our listeners just said that in India, OnePlus sells like hotcakes in Chinese and Indian markets. Yeah, I mean, he said maybe OnePlus will pull off from US markets. I could see that coming.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think this could be their last kind of ditch effort. Like, okay, here's an affordable smartphone. It has a couple of omissions, but it's pretty good. Here's a ridiculously priced Android tablet, but we haven't really got a good Android tablet, so it might sell. So, I mean, I think there's an option. There is an option there. There is a hope there, I think, for OnePlus. But I don't know. I just kind of they've been on the last couple of smartphone releases, like the 10T, the 10 Pro. Those were hot garbage. And
let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Did you guys read those articles about all these Chinese phones, Oppo, Vivo, having that spyware on it just recently? Like they're taking a lot of user data in China. My fear is that, us as, I don't know how, I'm a tech person, so I'm reading all these, these weird articles. But if the general public is aware of that, maybe they're hesitant to buy a OnePlus because they're saying, well, OnePlus is offered in China, but when we get it, it's different software. Are they still collecting just as much data? Who knows?
Ask 100 Americans, well, who's OnePlus?
Exactly.
Yeah, you get 0 responses because they don't know.
They're going to say, that Chinese company, aren't they banned?
It doesn't even matter. They don't even know OnePlus is a Chinese company. They don't even know it exists. So it's like, it's really not a Chinese spyware thing. It's just literally, there's no visibility to that brand at all.
Oh, we're a foil hat. We're a foil hat.
You could reverse that and say, do Chinese people, like in China, what if an article read, Google's collecting Americans' data, which the Chinese people by Google stuff because realistically, every company collects user data. So it's just a matter of if they're super popular in China, of course they're collecting data.
Yeah, but China is the hot topic word right now. We're all scared of China for some reason. So that makes it look bad for everyone else.
Here's what was really bad with Huawei, though, is they were getting away from the kind of bad publicity for a little bit there. And then I know about this only because my dad worked for the state for a while, but they got a little bit of issue when 2 people were found with Huawei devices trying to access the database for one of the largest electrical suppliers by Detroit. I live in Michigan, so there was this theory that they were trying to access and shut down the power grid, and it happened to be 2 people that were associated with Huawei. I mean, if they were carrying iPhones, we would have been,
Did you guys see
for Apple? Would we have said the same thing? So, it's
that's fair.
Did you see the OnePlus concept phone? It was delivered on that balloon that came over the United States. Then we shot it down, so we didn't get to see it because it got shot down. But hey, we tried.
Yeah.
No, I guess every company collects data. The difference is does that company actively filter that data or provide that data to the state? And I'm not talking about the state. I'm talking about the government of that.
And Huawei,
that company
owned by the state. That's what they say.
Yeah,
Apple,
it's a communist country. Of course, everything's owned by the state. That's the
Apple definitely doesn't. They're counter government, counter FBI. We don't want to give any information to anything. We don't even want it getting on our servers because we don't want to be able to be subpoenaed, and that causes issues sometimes. I don't even want to get into that. Like the whole CSAM thing. People were up in arms, but they didn't realize it was like Apple wants it scanned on your device so that it doesn't come to their servers, so they can say, we don't even know about it. It didn't even make its way to us. It was, and people got all in arms about it. And it's like 2 different ways of looking at it. Every company scans devices for problematic content and stuff like that. I mean, it just, I don't know. The controversies are always there, and it's a matter of like privacy versus convenience and it's an ongoing conversation that's never going to end. And then one of the things that came to mind, though, is we're seeing market share shift, right, with this whole thing. And you were talking about like them competing in the United States and basically it being an Apple and Samsung thing. What would happen if we get to the point where Apple is so dominant that Samsung is almost non-existent? Is Apple going to have to like invest in force competition so that they don't get sued or brought to the Supreme Court for a monopoly? If other companies like go away because people aren't buying, is it their fault? Like, do they have like, how does that, what happens?
I mean, they would look into it, but it's because Apple would have to be aggressively attempting or trying to solidify a monopoly. Right. And they're not doing that. Right, it's just because they provide a product that's popular. So there's a difference. I mean, the Justice Department would look into it, but unless
and I'm not against Apple. Hey,
look, we're not purposely making sure that you can't use an Android device. It's just that nobody wants to because of that. So I think that's their out, and I think that's their play. And yeah, you're right. It will be. I've said this 100,000 times.
I hope we're referring to the U.S. only, though.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, 5 to 7 years,
that's what I'm saying.
Apple will be the Android of the U.S. It'll be 85%, and that's it.
They already are 80. They're already 80% of the market for the popular. Like if you look at 18 to 35 age range, which is like the most popular age range for like, social media advertising, majority of like smartphone use, high smartphone use is particular age range is like already 80% iPhone and rising, and Samsung is dipping. And that kind of sucks in a way because I like the competition. I like to see how it's changed Apple. I mean, we've seen Apple almost flip. I was having a discussion with somebody. I'm sorry, I'm totally taking over the stream.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
So I was having a discussion with some of the stuff that like Google and Samsung has done, making, for example, you used to have the Galaxy Wear, like you could use Galaxy Buds with the iPhone more and more. In the last couple generations, they've taken away features and stuff. And even with like other Android devices, you pretty much have to have a Samsung to get all the Samsung features. And it makes sense. Like because they can't control hardware on other devices and the connection, and they can't determine, like, did you agree to the terms and services? That's part of the issue when it comes to. Same thing with Google. But it's funny to see, like, Apple's opening up their APIs. They've been doing this for years. Now they've invested in Matter, and they're like, Apple's almost becoming more open. And in a way, Google and other companies are starting to close down. So they're kind of doing the opposite of what Apple did. Apple was more closed down, and then they opened up, and the others are way open, and they're kind of coming in. So it's interesting to see this change. And it's, I don't know, it's a little concerning, though, because some of, like, the Nest products are starting to see where, like, you have to use certain apps to access stuff, but then if it's Nest compatible, then the companies have their own app, but then Google, like, with my cameras, they're Google Home compatible, but I have to go into the Eufy app to access the video feed, but I can access the HomeKit feed from my home app. So it's like this weird, like, you can access anything that's HomeKit can be in one app, and just because it's Google Home compatible doesn't mean that it's accessible directly through their app. Now, if you have a Pixel, that's where it gets confusing, because in the notifications you can view those things, which is really confusing, because then it should be accessible in the home app. So it's like,
you would imagine so anyway, right? Jojo, you're the expert on the Pixel stuff there. What do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't say that.
I thought you were a Pixel expert. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not an expert.
I think that's Delmar.
You mean on setting up like the home Wi-Fi stuff?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I had to do that today. I mean, as long as you're using the Google Home app, I mean, and you're using anything that's compatible with it, I had no issues. Today I set up cameras, I set up Chromecast, I set up Nest Hub, I set up like 10 different devices. No issues. So I guess.
I think Google does it better than most, though, when it comes to like that integration in with like the Google Home and just kind of making everything kind of talk to each other. I should probably specify that by saying Google products working well with the Google Home app. But I know my setup at home, I have Ring cameras. So, and they just released a software update just this past week where you can now have the doorbell camera recognize when a parcel is being delivered versus someone coming to like ring your doorbell. So basically, if the UPS guy is walking up holding a package, you'll actually get a notification saying that a package is about to be delivered instead of someone's at your front door.
Yeah.
And I just kind of found that interesting, right? Like how they're finding ways now to kind of make that discrepancy between the two, right?
Actually, Nest cameras have had that for a while.
I didn't know that.
The Nest doorbell.
Yeah.
And I have Wise devices.
I was about to say that. I was about to literally go up here and show y'all.
I didn't know that, right? So
what I like about that is, like, at least with my Wise, when I had them on, every time something moved, it would say a notification. Now, when you have they call it smart AI, and they had to get it. They were using something that Apple bought, and they had to restart their AI, but it does package, pet, person, car, sound, baby crying, dog barking. You can do any of those things. I like that a lot better. But yeah, I mean,
I'm just home. I just look outside and there's a dude there. Or a person there.
There's a window.
Because I'm home. I'm home almost all the time. I work from home. So I'm like, I just walk outside, and it's like, my buddy had one of those. I used to work with him, and I swear to God, every 5 minutes.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
I'm like, dude, turn that shit off. I swear to God, you're killing me. I'm going to take your phone and throw it out of a window. It's like, mute your phone. It's like every car that went by, everybody that walked by, everybody was like, dude, God, that is
my favorite application of that is you can set the different tones and rings and stuff. On the Ring app, I don't know if it's like with the Google app, but you can set like Halloween. At Halloween, you can set like Halloween specific ringtones and things like. I love to scare the shit out of people.
We do that too as well on Nest. We did it for Halloween.
Yeah, so, and it's funny to scare the shit out of people. Like I want to have like a demon growling when someone comes up to the door, so the little kids in the neighborhood go running away screaming. Right, adds to the Halloween experience of it all. Just jumping into Q&A. I know you picked up the OnePlus 11.
I pre-ordered it. Yeah.
So
I had a bunch of gift cards. Yeah, I was just gonna say, what was the justification?
So
I mean, it was Amazon had it for $7.99. They didn't have the cheaper version, but they had a $100 gift card included. So
Okay.
my thought was, hey, I'll use all my gift cards and get $100 back, but they wouldn't let me get the $100 gift card if I was using gift cards, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I got it. I mean, I
Yeah.
literally paid $2.30 for the phone
Oh,
on
yeah,
Apple
they-
gift cards. So it was worth it to me. And I'll be honest, I've had almost every OnePlus phone since the beginning. I'm not saying I'm a huge fan. I just like trying new phones. And
Yeah.
I never, I mean, the cameras are not perfect, but they have a style, at least before the Hasselblad kicked in.
Yeah.
They had a style, and I actually really enjoyed the 9 and the 8 Pro. I used to go walks in these parks and take pictures, and I always was really impressed with them. The
Yeah.
Hasselblad thing doesn't really matter. To me, it's more of this, there is some software tuning. There's no hardware level changes like Leica is doing. I don't know. Did you guys watch? I mean, I know the one person who's not here, me and him were kind of talking in a text message about the stream. The stream was terrible. They tried to pull an Apple using marketing. At some time they were calling out things that the phone had that I thought was an ED medication. Like I had no idea what the hell they were talking about. And they would say woohoo, and I swear they had someone with an applause sign and like 3 people applauded. I mean, clapped their hands. It was terrible. It was the worst.
Can we talk about the event? I don't know if any of you guys caught it. I caught the replay.
It was horrible.
I didn't even watch it. I honestly
65 people came out to announce.
I know this is sad to say, but I feel like from now on, I'm not watching any event other than Apple events because, like, I have a really hard time if they start going too niched, even though I can be super analytical and technical, which
here's
y'all
the
know.
problem.
But like,
Apple's
if you can't keep my
marketing.
attention, you have a problem. Like,
Well, Apple and Samsung events are very similar now. They talk about they make up some software thing and like, oh, it's the ultra bright HDR, and it's basically it's HDR. OnePlus tried to do that, but it was terrible. It was terrible. Samsung's, I mean, I like Samsung events. I like all events. I'll watch them all. I just wish they would have spent a little more time on the tablet. But what's funny is when they announced the price, they initially went to the India price or whatever. We're like, what the hell does that translate to?
Yeah.
We couldn't figure it out. But I understand. Like, and then I also heard that they sent a bunch of bloggers and YouTubers to New York to watch it on a screen, like to watch the event on a projector. I'm like,
why?
I mean, they may have got a free phone out of it, but it wasn't really worth it. Unless it was on their dime and they flew them out there. I mean, I guess that's okay, but I don't know. It was terrible. I watched it. And I was embarrassed for it.
I guess with all the leaks, I don't really know if we need. I mean, maybe Apple because they seem to have that under control, but even they don't have it under control as much as they used to. Is lockdown data. I mean, it's like by the time you get to these events, you already know like 90% of what's going on.
Exactly.
Well,
I mean, so it's like, do we have to do this anymore? I mean, really, can we Google? Does Google even? Here's a fold. Here's a band. Here's the new watch. You already seen it. It's already been out for 1 billion years.
I love Google. Google's last.
Google,
with the release.
I like
it.
Yeah,
Google's doing right now.
Yes. They get to the point and they move on.
Google.
It's a phone. You've probably already seen it for like a week and a half. So who cares?
Yeah.
You own all the specs. You're going to get one anyway, or you're not.
Apple, the OnePlus.
It leaked 5 months ago anyway, so
Did anybody walk into that thing going, "I'm really on the fence about this Google Pixel," and then you're like, "I saw the event." You're like, "Sheesh, I got to get a Google." No, you're going to get the.
And who was watching? Who watches these events? It's not the general consumer. It's people.
No, it's so.
I'm not bashing Apple. Apple's a marketing machine. They know how to label stuff, and the general public is going to be like, "Oh my god, it has that." Even though most phones have had it, they don't know. OnePlus, their phones are. It's the OnePlus 11 seems like a decent phone. It's not perfect.
Yeah,
it's not a Pro.
No, I agree. Yeah,
but the way they marketed it, they tried to be an Apple, and it didn't work out for them at all.
No,
it was terrible.
The weird thing to me though is how the other difference I feel like is companies try to, like, if you pay attention, Apple never specifically says like, hey, we're the first one to do this. They'll be like the first iPhone with this. That's very smart. Other companies will kind of try to be like, it's the first time they're doing this. And then if you pay attention, it's like, well, that feature's been out there forever. Like, you know, Quick Share has been a thing forever. It was Android Beam at one point. It was like, there's all these different names. It's just a new name. And instead of it being hidden in your settings or further in your quick panel, it's now up front. It's got a new name. It's now, it's not, because Samsung devices really promoted the Android Beam for the longest. Other companies had it, but it wasn't promoted as much now. But now there's two different things. You have Quick Share, and then you have there's two. Samsung still has their own version of it, and
all
It's
companies
always-
do that. All
But
the-
if you-
Apple says we're 40% faster than the competition. What competition? Like
but the
they just throw these
funny,
random numbers out. Everyone kind of does that stuff though. That's how marketing works.
the interesting thing that I noticed too is, I can't remember which one it is. If it's Samsung's version or the universal version, I know one of them has a file size limitation and the other one doesn't. Like there's some limitations
Yeah.
as far as
They're
things
pulling
you
an
can
Apple
do
move.
and some weird like, and I was just confused. And QuickShare though, it appears that they're working on an update so that you'll be able to use your it won't matter what you're on, but you'll be able to send it as long as you have the Chrome browser. So that means Mac compatibility and some
Right.
other stuff, because it's just using Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. It's not like their own locked-in proprietary type of thing where like AirPlay and AirDrop, yeah, it's the same thing. You know, it's basically Miracast, and it's basically, although even that's specific. Like I can't pull up Windows inside Parallels on my MacBook and get the second screen function and stuff to work, because it is hardware specific. Even though the hardware is technically there for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth,
Yeah.
they link it. You have to have specific licensing and certain, so they all do it.
Yeah. Now, it's actually funny that you say that, Mike, because I know Delvon, you posted about the Android developer preview earlier on today.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you
Did you install
notice anything different?
You installed it?
No, I did not install it.
Ah.
I'm debating right now as we speak.
So
right
am
now,
I.
if I want to go through that process, but I'm not going to put it on my Pixel 7 Pro. I'm going to put it on my 6 Pro. And that's why I kept it for a beta phone. So I'm debating, because from what I see is no features on it. It's
No,
just
right.
like behind just like little fine tunes to the settings and stuff, like permissions and everything. So that's not exciting to talk about. So I was like, maybe I'll just wait for the first beta, because I am going to track it when it comes out. So that's
I
what
think-
I'm
I
really
think-
debating on.
The public beta might be smarter, because then you can add it to the Google website and have it downloaded over the air.
Well,
Different
that's
sizes
the
and
real
stuff.
reason why, but more so like the information. Like the information that the preview give you, I don't think people care about that. They want to know what features are coming. And it's just, like I
Exactly.
said, they're adding the battery screen on time for the battery. Well, we do have it, but now they're adding it blatantly at the top now, and some small minor changes that just is not exciting. Like I want to know if at a glance going to be editable or removable or whatever. I want to know about the real core features that they're going to add to this Android version. So
Delvon, let me ask you.
Mhm.
Let me ask you, what would be the number one feature you would like to see come through a software update to the Pixel line?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The biggest bugaboo I have on my Pixel is two things, just really two things, is that I want at a glance to be gone. I want to be able to like get rid of that.
Yeah.
I'm a person who likes to have full control of my home screen, and I don't feel like I have that with the Pixel. I'm okay.
God, that drives me
with the
fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'm okay with the search bar at the bottom. Like, in fact,
Yeah.
if I can remove it, I will keep it up there because I'm so used to it now and I need it.
Yeah.
I use it daily. I didn't realize how useful that was. And then my other feature would probably be support like icon packs, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can get that, I'll be happy with the Pixel launcher. And I mean, well, one more thing. I want to be able to hide apps. I want to be able to hide apps in the app.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Now, Delvon, we heard a little bit of a rumor, and we have to confirm something here.
Yes, confirm.
The
sorry.
anti I'm not going to order a Samsung S23 guy. Did you order a Samsung S23?
Hold on. Drum roll, please. Let's go.
I don't know if y'all can see that.
Oh, he did.
I saw the tweet earlier.
No,
Well, you said like psych or something. I wasn't sure if it was real or not.
it was real.
Yeah.
I didn't order it.
No,
You did not.
I was seeing who was going to read the edit text, but many people
I saw
didn't
the
read
edit.
it.
That's what
You
threw
did?
me off. I'm like, there's no way he did. That's bullcrap.
Yeah. No, I'm not getting it. But there is good news, though. There is good news. I have a good close friend who is getting it. So I'm going to be able to have some time with it. Yes, I will have access to it. I'm not going to like do a review because I can't ask this man to let me borrow his phone for a week or two, but I will use it for photos and video.
Yeah.
So you're going to become a
that's the
hashtag Samsung night is what you're saying. I get it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So one of the cool things, I don't know if you saw that with the update for the the screen on time thing is you
Mhm.
can click and it will automatically highlight the area like in the graph from when you charged up last,
Oh
and will
yeah.
show you just that segment. Where
Mhm.
sometimes they were doing the annoying thing where you'd have to like click each segment and then add them up
And
and
add it
figure it
up.
out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now
Yes.
you can click and it will just go from like now to back.
Mhm.
So I think that's a pretty neat. I don't know. I'm
It's
hoping
aesthetic, right?
the
But look, we
rumor
can't
that
call
I've
this a feature because this was in Android a long time ago. They
Exactly.
just
they've just
took it
moved it
away
up
and brought it
and
back.
brought it back.
Yeah, and then like, and to be honest with you, when people be showing me Apple like phone screen on time, I don't even know if that's even real because Apple kind of goes by usage. It's like
Yeah.
usage time.
It's different.
So it's not even a
different.
real. Yeah, and then I be seeing people with 15 hours. I'm like, you did not get no 15 hours, man.
No.
They
You got 15 hours usage.
My
They go-
14 Pro Max is atrocious battery.
Yeah,
Absolutely atrocious battery. And I'm on the latest software
wish-
update, fresh install.
Where's my damn
It's
iPhone?
terrible. And I've done everything.
That's
Yeah.
a sign right there. iPhone's no, just kidding.
Yeah.
Look,
they go.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's in my tech bag. That's right. It's dead.
Can I ask a
God,
quick
yeah.
question though? I have
Yeah.
an issue with iPhone because I have the iPhone 14 Pro, and I'm on.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say it's not a problem with iPhone. So I'm on Twitter, and if you guys noticed, I was trying to sell a few items, and everyone
Yeah.
kept saying DM me, DM me. I cannot DM anybody on Android. Period. It does not have the option. I have to do it
I
on the
can.
iPhone.
I can't.
Unless they're
Really?
already,
I
Yeah,
didn't notice
unless
that.
they're-
I've already had them established as someone I've talked to before. But when I click on
Mhm.
someone's name, there's no
They-
place to
There's
do
a
it.
bug right now.
It's driving
Oh,
me
okay.
insane. Thank God I had an iPhone.
Yeah.
Now the fold
It's
works.
weird.
Now, I had the fold when I unfolded it. The fold 4,
Yeah.
it was showing up for a while, but even that disappeared.
I was gonna say,
Right.
let me find somebody I haven't DM'd and
Yeah, I want to test
that-
that.
Yeah.
I
Only problem that I
know,
have with
oh, it's showing. It's finally showing for me the freaking
Oh.
It's
Yeah.
finally showing but it wasn't even showing the envelope to be able to click to message them for a while.
Speaking of which, did you guys hear that their Twitter is going to be offering, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's a silver or a gold check mark for verified businesses, I believe.
They're
Yeah,
just
So,
for like
yeah.
10, it's like 10 grand a month. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's like
some
$1,000
$1,000,
or
I-
10
I
grand
it
a
was
month.
1,000.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
1,000 for the one, and then I think they were saying they were going to do a higher one that was like 10 grand, like a
Yeah, I got
platinum
that
one
one.
or
That's
something
what I
like
got.
that.
I
Oh,
want-
platinum
I'm platinum
check
all the
mark.
way.
Now we're talking.
Yeah,
Now we're
platinum only
like-
for me.
Yeah.
Did they already announce how much they're going to charge for API access? Because I know that they're going to charge
They're
for it
gonna
now.
charge for
Oh,
that. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
they are. I
Sure,
don't
why
know.
not?
I don't want to be a company
You
that has to
kidding?
act.
Yeah.
Well, I
Elon's
was
gonna do
told-
anything for free. Gets
Yeah, there was an article
What's
saying
going
that
on,
their
man?
subscriber count's only like 180,000 for the check
Yeah.
mark, and that it now is a good time for Elon Musk to file for bankruptcy. And like for Twitter, I should say, not Elon, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever going to
Well,
happen.
I was
He'll
reading an
sell
article
before he
earlier
bankrupt.
today that was saying that last month apparently was one of the lowest subscription months ever to Twitter. Like, as it was like less than 100,000 or something people had signed up for the app. People were leaving in drones, but they weren't signing up for the app, right? Which is a slight problem, right? You're like, if you're not growing, what are you doing, right? Like, why are you
Right.
doing this service? So, listen, we can say what we can. And a few of our listeners have some pretty interesting opinions about Elon there. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, I mean, I can understand why people are calling. I mean, people have been calling for his resignation since he took over. So, I mean, is it any different? Like, sure, growth is, coming to a slow halt, but, I'm sure there'll
Everything
be
is, but everything's slow
It's-
right
yeah.
now. So is it Elon's fault? Maybe, but who knows?
It's the year 2043.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk has finally broke even with the $4 billion he spent on Twitter.
Yeah. On
I
Twitter,
just did the math roughly in my head. You multiply
Yeah.
that out. I mean, 180,000 at like, let's say $8 a month or whatever, or actually it's higher than that if you, depending on which method you do. But like if you do like $8 a month, so that's about 1.44 million, and you multiply
That's a
that
lot.
out, and then
That's a lot of
and then
money.
you gotta
Yeah.
but then you multiply that throughout the year, so you're at it's like just shy of 20 million and then you got to divide so you're at like 200
much
years
math. Too much
before you
math.
can get to that 4 point.
My brain's hurting already. Hang on a second. Let me use Chat GPT to figure this
Yeah,
out.
220 years.
Darren, before you go
220
into
years.
that, we missed one thing that OnePlus announced, and JoJo was kind of mentioning it to me earlier, or all of us.
The buds.
Yeah.
The keyboard,
buds.
the mechanical keyboard.
Oh yes, I saw that today.
I think it looks actually pretty nice, but I don't know what the price is going to be. That's the question.
Let's see if we can if I can find it. Hang on 1 second.
It's not there. It says you have to sign up for notifications when it's available. I think it's probably going to be available around the same time as the tablet.
Yeah,
Is
that's what
that
I've heard.
made-
On
April.
April. Yeah.
I
think it looks
made
nice.
by Keychron?
I think they.
It's a key
It is,
chron,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Keychron's a very reputable brand. I mean, they're a very, very good keyboard maker. How they managed to link up with OnePlus, I have no idea. But
Money.
Yeah, money, I guess, right? Branding. Yeah.
Hasselblad, money.
Let's take a prediction here. How much is the OnePlus keyboard?
I heard 60.
That's
$60?
I'll pay $60 for it. Ain't bad.
Yeah, $60 it's fair. Yeah.
For mechanical, you can customize. Yeah, not bad at all.
What about you, Sam? What are you going to pay for your? What are you going to pay for your
Zero.
OnePlus
He's not
keyboard?
gonna buy it.
OnePlus keyboard. Get the
Zero.
fuck out of here.
Zero.
Seriously? I mean, it's mechanical. Like
It's
that
not going to
doesn't
be.
exist
It's not going to
anywhere
be
in any
that.
market at all.
It's not going to be
Come
that
on.
cheap.
Get the hell out of here, man. It's like,
If
if you're a OnePlus fan, sure, you can rock out with a backpack. You can get a bunch of troll stickers, all that stuff.
Sam, you already got one of those backpacks, don't you?
No,
The OnePlus backpacks.
no, I don't.
$199. Oh, okay.
I've had
$199,
OnePluses,
no.
and I like the brand, but
No
I'm not.
way.
If it's anywhere, unless they manage to make it somehow really cheap, because it's resembles the Keychron. It's the what do they call it? The Q81, the Q1, and the V1, the
Listen.
the Q1 Pro, the 81 Pro are all around $200. So unless they
No.
figured out how to like
No way.
OnePlus,
Blast
if
it
you're
cheap.
listening, OnePlus, if you're listening, here's the play. Release your Sandstone case for other devices. That's $1 million
There
idea.
you go.
'cause
Yes.
I'm telling you, that's the best thing they ever made. I gotta throw that out there. That case is every time I've ever bought a OnePlus phone, I've bought the
The cases are
Sandstone
great.
case
Yes.
because it's beautiful. It's grippy, protective. It's not too thick, not too thin. That's what she said. But it's
I was
all
waiting
about
for
this,
it.
right? But honestly, that's the play. OnePlus could make a killing. Like, just brand it out. Like, throw up a Pixel case, an Apple iPhone case.
No, that's not the play. They need to bring out a OnePlus mouse and a mouse pad and LED
Yes,
light. No, I'm
sure,
kidding. I'm
yeah.
totally kidding.
Yeah.
Sam's
Yeah.
getting all excited now. He wants
Yes,
one of those
Pat.
lights now, dude, don't you?
a OnePlus branded like MagSafe battery pack
Oh,
that
yeah?
actually has MFI support and has like the I
Fast charge?
loved the what was the I'm trying to think of the case because I had one for my OnePlus 7T that
The
it's
Aramid?
not their Sam's that fiber, that carbon
Yeah,
fiber.
Aramid
Like
fiber,
if they
yeah.
made a
Yeah,
carbon fiber that like dissipates the heat really well and launched a MagSafe case, especially if they could get that in before the Qi 2 standard comes out, and then be like the first manufacturer to come in line and be like, we've got one, and it also can support the charging speeds, like full charging speeds that Apple offers. But then if you buy a OnePlus phone, you get, I don't know, some like 35-watt charging or something with it. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
They
OnePlus
could-
does not support wireless, so that's MagSafe is a
Yeah, I know. That's going to be useless.
They
for
have
us.
well,
Yeah.
that's the thing though. So they could, that would be their thing. Our first our wireless
product
device
branch
that
out?
supports.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know what,
Bring
Delvon?
back-
I'm going to send Delvon my OnePlus 11 after I get it because I want to
Yeah.
see him take his photography pictures with it. And you could try it for a
See-
couple weeks, send it back to me.
Yeah.
Do you guys know
I got
Scott
you.
Peachy? Do you guys ever watch Scott Peachy? He's he kind of ducked out. I don't think he's on YouTube very much anymore. But I've sent him Huawei phones before they were outlawed, so he could try them out for his channel because I wasn't doing it yet. And he was really, he was safe with my phone. Send them back to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Look, I mean,
definitely.
I think someone said here, just saying it, OnePlus should get into the accessories game more like mouse, keyboard, speakers, chargers. Their earbuds are insane as well. So, I mean, there are a lot of people out there, that really enjoy
I
a
like
lot of their
earbuds.
products.
Yeah. To
That
bring
makes me
back the
think of-
McLaren. Can we bring back that?
McLaren,
The
yes.
McLaren edition?
Let's have
Yes.
cool stuff. I mean, it's like, wait, who would OnePlus next year? We're gonna have a phone. It has wireless charging. It doesn't have a screen.
That makes me
But
think
then,
of,
it's just
Razer, though.
Can we decide what we're gonna do? That brand is so infuriating. It's like you cannot even decide what you're gonna do from brand to brand. Then they had the cool one, and they got a pop-up camera. That was 1 year. Then they had McLaren. That was a year. They won't do it. Then they had the cool other, program phone that was kind of like that. And here's again, this is my thing. I like OnePlus. I've had them. I like them. I used to run Hydrogen OS builds on my OnePlus back in the day. It's every time I turn around, that brand has it's like run by a schizophrenic monkey. Who's making the decisions about that phone? It's like features this, and we want to be high end, but we don't. But we want an alert slider.
What other company did that? What other company? LG did the same thing, and look what happened.
Like I said, in the United States, LG is gone, HTC is gone, and OnePlus is not going to be available. It will be. You can import it. You'll gray market it, and 5 people will own a OnePlus. It'll be one of those things.
Didn't they do a TV too?
Yes,
they're probably going to start their own space program eventually at some point.
They're big in India. I think they're pretty
OnePlus
big
is actually
in
in my carrier. You could go in OnePlus, and there's a section of OnePlus phones in my carrier.
And you got the N300.
Except for the 11.
It's at T-Mobile. And
you can't buy the 11 at T-Mobile.
Yeah, except for the 11. It's all their cheap phones, though. It's nothing that's going to be expensive. But as far as what I know from some of the people that when I be talking to them about it there, because they think that I don't know what I'm talking about, but I just act like it. They said the OnePlus phones sell pretty well in there because it's cheap. Sam, they said the most selling phones that they sell at these carriers be iPhones. You would think it'd be iPhones, but it mostly be those cheap phones because when the client come in and then they be like, I got this much money for a phone, then you take them to a section and they be like, this phone is only $200 or $300. They're looking to buy that, and then they tell them, hey, we can just add this to your plan, and it'll be $5 a month extra to your deal. Yeah. They would take that.
And I don't disagree, Delavan, because you're a smart guy. I will tell you though, do yourself a favor. When you see a OnePlus in the wild, you go, oh, you know it. And I can tell you, walk through any store, pay attention. I pay attention all the time to people's phones. It's just kind of.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah. You're not going to see any N300s, N200s. OnePlus 7, you'll see them every once in a while. You'll see one, and you go, "Oh, you're a OnePlus."
You're right. That's crazy though, because
so they're selling a ton. Where are they going?
As much as they sell, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I see the same thing with Samsung. I do not see a lot of Samsung budget phones, but they sell crazy good. I literally see, or maybe I'm just looking for flagships. Maybe I see a phone. And if it's not flagship, my brain's be like, oh, whatever. I don't know what that is.
The problem is
here's why. Because all the cheap OnePlus and Samsung phones are in the people's pockets, because all the iPhone and Samsung users that are the influencers are the ones that are all about themselves with their phone out, taking pictures of themselves all the time.
Right. Yeah, the OnePlus fans
I can agree with that.
like literally, if you think about like the actual like mental dynamics of the users. Think about the ones that are going to have their phone.
Oh, I'm going to hold my iPhone up for a selfie.
You're going to have influencers or business people, maybe like attorneys and stuff, and they probably are spending in they're the ones that are just going to write it off, and they'll buy the expensive phone and write it off, and they're going to have it out, but only if they're doing business. If they're walking down the road, if they're not on a phone call, it's in their pocket, or it's the user who doesn't use their phone a ton. Maybe they do some messages, some calls. So you're going to buy, you're not buying a super expensive phone. You're not on it all the time because your battery life wouldn't allow you to be. It just depends. I don't know. The funny thing is I have 2 people that I know that love their OnePlus devices. And one of them just went from a 6T to the 8.
Yeah.
Another one is I gave him a OnePlus 17. He's still using a Nord. I'm like, this 3-year-old OnePlus will be better than your Nord. You should, as far as, it's not running the latest operating system, but like as far as performance and like all that stuff and being able to actually see outside, and it doesn't have a cracked screen.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think
OnePlus used to be really good.
Sam is practicing miming over there.
Sam, we're going to have a bit of a delay. going on over there.
Right.
That was.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Like I said, it's just I mean, I like OnePlus. Don't get me wrong, but it's just I know where it's going to go. I mean, and everybody knows where it's going to go.
You're right.
If you're a tech pundit, if you're a tech enthusiast, you know where it's going to go. It's going to go the way of LG, just because it just is. And it's a shame, because I agree with Michael. It's less competition. Sucks, and I don't want an all Android, all Apple world. I just don't. And not because I don't like Apple. I have an iPhone for work. I like using it, but it just sucks, and it's unfortunate. But I think in 5 to 7 years we're going to see a really compressed marketplace.
Hey, don't be so depressed. We got Pixel line out there. It's gaining shares. Maybe at 3%.
Because Google decided to actually run a fucking ad every once in a while. Maybe that can figure
exactly.
out. We got three versions of it. Like maybe we should run what are these things they put on ads on TV where it tells people about your product? What are those called? Commercials? We should totally start doing that.
If Google were to hire me and say, you know what, you're in charge of advertising, my first move is the top of every freaking Google search is a Pixel ad. I don't care if it pisses people off. How are you going to avoid Google search? Are you going to go to Yahoo where it's like awful, or like DuckDuckGo? You're in a Google
Microsoft
search on
Edge,
your device all the time.
And
or Bing. But like you are running that, you're running that ad, and it doesn't have to be that big. It just could be right skinny across the top, and it says Google Pixel in the middle, and you have like, and it pops down, and then it pops up, and then when it pops down, it shows you some features, and then it goes away, and it's real quick, but it's in your face every time you do a Google search.
You may unlock it.
I'm sure that's going to be a problem with the government. I'm sure somebody's gonna start some kind of lawsuit about that.
Now, can we just segue into, and Mike brought it up, Microsoft and Bing and all of this AI push.
You're welcome, by the way. I've been doing all your segues for you, by the way.
I know. Yeah, you're amazing. I love it.
I'm trying to, at least.
This week, we saw Google's AI Bard, which is fucking the stupidest name I've ever heard, but we won't go into that. Their chatbot and Microsoft's own AI integration into their Edge and Bing search bar. Let me ask you, just as tech enthusiasts, is this AI integration into chatbots, browsers, etc., is that going to change the way that we do things when it comes to our online presence?
Yes.
In what way?
Just to let you know, if you guys haven't known this already, I'm actually not even here. This is all chat AI right now.
Oh, it's just a bot. Oh,
yeah. That's why it's so terrible. That's why I'm so terrible. It's not quite up to snuff. Sam, come on.
It's fun. That's funny. I know funny, and that's funny. I like.
Wow.
It.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
I would love to know why Google called it Bard. So, is this a Shakespearean reference? Like, I need to know. Like, I need to know where this name came from.
Because I've been watching so much legal stuff. When I saw Bard, all I could think of is Beyond a Reasonable Doubt.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
So I was really confused because I'm like, what's this? Because everybody's tweeting BARD. And right now, like, there's like crazy trials going on that I've been watching, and I'm like, why are they? Because I heard that term over and over again. Beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm like, why did they do it?
Do we know why they called it that? Did they mention? Is it an acronym?
It stands for something. I don't know. I don't remember what it is now off the top of my head.
Okay.
It does stand. All these tech companies have these acronyms that we have to know. So
yeah, with I mean, look, I always said with the Chat GPT stuff and all this AI push that you're seeing, it's going to be one company that buys it, and it's gone. Google, Apple, Samsung are going to. Fucking Samsung might just go, you know what, Bixby, it's all right. It's kind of shit. Let's just buy Chat GPT, bleed it into the Bixby thing, and boom, it's done. Like Google's assistant's going to look like garbage compared to that. Like the power and the process that's there for something like this as a digital assistant and what it potentially could do could be massive. A Google Assistant is smart, but the Chat GPT side of things is much, much smarter. Like we're talking, if you've used, I don't know if you guys have used Chat GPT or if you had a chance to play around with it, but it's scary good.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. Like for me, like I mean, again, I'm using it to look up stupid shit, like, you know, tell me a joke, like, you know, like, and while that sounds like, you know,
and Cortana could have did that to you. He should tell you jokes all the time.
That's true, yeah.
Did you see the guy on The Verge that had the new Bing make him a resignation letter?
Yeah,
I mean, that was pretty good.
That's impressive.
I kind of laughed a little bit. So very sarcastic and dry.
What I get a kick out of is it seems like, and this is coming from a homer for Microsoft, so I'm going to already qualify that statement. But it sounds like Bing and Microsoft have kind of got the lead on the AI integration with it.
So too.
It would seem, and it looks like Google's really kind of either not fully developed or they're half baked, or they look like they're kind of counterpunching right now.
I would think Google's more. They're advanced. They're probably far ahead. I just don't think they're releasing it because they've had enough graveyard device. I think they're actually working on it. Bard is just like, hey, we've come this far. Let's push it out to 1,000 people. Let's see how it does. I think it's probably pretty advanced. I could be totally off.
Bard's UI is fugly and clunky as hell.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
I'm sorry if there's no way. Oh god, yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard. I don't know. I haven't been experienced.
Compared to what Bing, Microsoft had a whole event on just that Bing integration. Right, they did a whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's because they knew they were bringing something that was pretty decent and flushed out. If I'll tell you right now, if Google's bringing that and that's like, well, we're way advanced, but we're going to put that shit out there. No, I'm sorry. Either they don't have it and that's all they had, and they had to counterpunch Microsoft at the point, or would you really, if you had a really good car in your garage, would you roll out your Honda Civic if you had the kind of car that El Jefe has? No. You would put all your shit. If you're going to have a counterpunch, you would bring it all the way up, all the way out. So sorry, man. I'm not buying that. And it's like I said, I qualify that as I'm a Microsoft guy. I like Microsoft stuff.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think weren't Microsoft the ones that invested in ChatGPT? Didn't they give them the startup money?
I believe
they spent a lot of money on it.
That's why they're using it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was like I want to say $10,000 investment. I'm going to probably think it's a lot more, but I think
it was closer to 10 million or 10 billion. Probably.
Yeah. Well, I read somewhere that Microsoft had, in the Kickstarter round for the ChatGPT concept, that they had chipped in and invested in the company and in this technology, right? I know. I think Jeffrey just said here, they're investing in that computational power. Maybe, let's just best case scenario. Microsoft, like you said, Sam, has a pretty good lead on the AI stuff from what we can see right now.
I was going to say what they brought in their presentation they had the other day in their event, and then what Google's counter was. My question is did Google have that prepared, or did they have to like, oh shit, we better get something out in the next 24 hours?
I feel like that was engineered.
It looks like Google got caught flat-footed and Microsoft
it was the oh shit moment. That's what it was.
Right, and they were like, holy shit, that's what's happening? What do we got?
Yeah.
We don't got half of that, dude.
All big companies
put something
are
out there because we can't let Microsoft suck up all the oxygen on that space. We got to put something out there, even if
apparently,
it looks a little
after Google announced Bard, their stock dropped. And between 2 days, they've lost $170 billion.
Yeah,
can you imagine doing that and still being around?
Yeah,
doing that and still being around, though, if you think about it. Because
that's a combo from McDonald's for them.
That's a number 4 with extra fries.
Yeah, But if you think about that, that's like about 5.3% of Apple's $3 trillion, because that's kind of crazy. If you think
I'm really
about
upset because I only have $1 trillion.
But if you think about it, that's a pretty significant percentage, though. If you think about like $180 billion, that's a pretty significant
It's a chunk of money. I mean, to them, again, like Dabo said, that's nothing.
Not to them. It ain't nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
It's nothing to them. Yeah. Yeah, to us, it's like shit. I'd probably have to kill myself. I know.
I better park my Bugatti and get into my Prius because I'm really mad right now.
You have to downgrade. Yeah,
I mean, if it's not that big of a deal, can they lose another $1 billion and 6 of us can share it?
Yes, sir.
They could. Come on, they could. And I will buy share into Google too.
You give me that money. I'll give my phone number out and I will just fucking sit at my computer all day long and just Google search the answer to whatever the hell you ask me, and I'll just do that. That'll be my permanent job.
And Google, if you're gonna do that, can you take 50% of? So can you take 50% of my 1/6, and can you put that in and put that into like a 401k and something, so I don't have to pay taxes on it right now?
Yeah,
and like at least shelter that part of it. The other half I'll keep. I'll pay the taxes on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think it's
a little off subject. It's a little off subject. Well, on subject, but off subject. Canon just released the R50, and they released R8, right? And they actually added like a computational photo mode into them. So they're actually trying to like get into the AI in cameras now. And we talked about this a long time ago. I talked about a lot of other people, and now it's actually coming, and Canon's about to be the first one to pioneer that into the cameras, which is tough. I'm never going to use it, but
well, I was going to ask this. So DSLRs have larger sensors in them. So with computational, you think it? I mean, I guess it comes down to the software. I mean, I guess.
Fro Knows Photos, who I watch, he's one of my photographer guys that I watch a lot. He actually posted up a really good sample photo of it actually going to work. It blows out anything the camera can do. I mean, like phones can do. It blew the phone out. First of all, you got the largest sensor. Yes, literally. Okay, I'm gonna pull it up I'm gonna pull it up and send it to you. But bro, it blows it out, and it did really, really good. It's something that I would shoot in RAW and edit, but I would still continue to shoot RAW. But I think that type of photography would be great for the average person, and I think that Canon is smart if they market that camera right.
Yes,
and they only priced it at $679.
Really?
And that's but that's without a lens, unfortunately, right? But that's without the lens. I don't need the lens. I just need the body. I'm gonna buy that camera, by the way. So it's gonna replace my R, because it's the one I carry around as my phone, my camera. Besides my phone, I don't like to use my phone. I use a camera. I'm gonna get the M50 because it's way smaller and it can fit like in my pocket or whatever. And I get a pancake lens with it. But I
think I have the image right here. Hang on a second. I think this is it right here. Is that it?
Look, just like that. Look, Jeff, you know what? Hold on. I got y'all though.
When I saw you post about that, Delvon, when I saw you posting about the whole computational thing, one of the first thing that came to mind is Canon makes cameras and printers. So if they can take that computational and reverse engineer it, then you don't have to work as hard to like create the profile and use like a spider monkey or something like that to like scan and actually create they can take the information that they're gathering from the image and create, and they know their printer and actually have the image print out without you having to do as much work potentially, even on like the professional higher level printers. Because right now Epson, a lot of people use Epson printers. That's all we used when I was in my photo classes, partially because Canon, with their weird thing with requiring that you get their ink and like blocking out third-party ink and making it super expensive, and like some DRM shit that they were on, and just the size of their printers, but like no other company. Epson doesn't make a camera and a printer. Sony makes printers, but they're not really known for that. So like, what other company makes both ends of it?
So what is it about the computational? Is it because you like to edit the way you want to edit, not what the software wants you to see?
I feel like I don't like computational photography that much. That's why I love my Pixel, and I think it's clearly my favorite camera on a smartphone. But I don't like to give the camera too much control, knowing that I can make a better picture out of it than the camera can actually do. The problem is that a lot of people who don't know photography, they just rely on the AI to take care of everything. And I don't. The AI doesn't make, like, let's just use the iPhone for instance, right? The iPhone, probably one of the, worst cameras on the market, right? It doesn't make really good decisions in HDR. And we all know this, right? We're not, it's not something that we're making up. We all know this. So I'm not going to trust that phone to handle a situation where HDR is being applied. I'm going to just shoot raw and then just go back later and just touch it up. Now, this is a niche because I'm a photographer. I'm somebody who does that. But people who can't, they have no choice but to rely on it. But I don't have to, so I don't. And that's how I feel about confrontational photography with a lot of this. I don't have to rely on AI. The pixels sometimes over contrast some of my pictures, and I got to take multiple pictures. So I shoot raw. I fix it myself. So and Canon wouldn't be no different. They might make it now. I think that Canon might be a little bit better because of the ergonomics and the hardware that they do have to create that, because cameras are using 100% software besides the lenses and everything else. And Canon cameras will use actually hardware, and then they're adding the software. So you might come out on top better. I do have the image. I'm about to try to pull it up in a minute. I'm trying to do this. What's this?
Oh, Darren's photo wasn't right. Darren's photo wasn't right.
No, mine was right.
It was close. It was close.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe
you can share a screen.
Yeah, I'm gonna share it to the screen. I'm using my favorite feature on Apple. The what's that thing called?
Well, Darren was showing you Canon's
universal control
computational photography.
Right. Damn, I knew I had the wrong one.
Yeah, sorry, wrong filter. Wrong filter.
Yeah, sorry.
Wrong filter. Oh, okay, got you.
The concern I have about the computational would be, anytime you're not doing anything raw and you apply software to it, there's compression that's going to go on because you're going to strip down data to create, you do a JPEG, even a high quality JPEG, you're losing information. So that's going to affect now hopefully through the computational, and if they're doing HDR and some of that, obviously you're bringing back more data, you're applying multiple stacks of images. So theoretically, when you layer those, if it's doing auto bracketing, I'm going to start nerding out. I'm sorry.
That's what it's
going to
do.
It's going to
That's what it's doing.
It's going to be interesting to see, but still, once you process that, you lose information.
Tune, those are houses.
Those
are windows, and there are some trees in the shot. And there's a sky. I don't know. I mean, I'm just helping you out, but that's
so like what Mike was just talking about. This is exactly that shot that the computational photography did, and it did bracket a bunch of shots to get the HDR and put it together, but it did it almost as instant as a phone would do. And that's what I'm talking about. As
from what I can see.
Normally, on my pro cameras that I have currently right now, I would have to literally go into HDR mode and put the amount of brackets I want to do, and all of that to achieve what they just did right here, just by switching it to a mode. So you just turn into that mode, and then boom, it's just like that. Of course, he's like a high level professional, so he was like, I don't think people will be using that. I'm like, bro, people will use this. He just don't.
General public definitely will. Yes.
Listen, Delvon, I'm gonna be honest with you. I honestly think the OnePlus 11 is gonna take a better photo than that shit.
I will prove it to you. I will prove it to you. I will prove it.
It's definitely interesting.
Absolutely.
I mean, Hasselblad, they went to the moon. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Did Canon go to the moon? No.
Theoretically,
I mean, Samsung.
Theoretically, with that computational,
That's true.
Theoretically, with that computational on a tripod, if the software allowed for it, through software control, you could do things like focus stacking, where it can take images and it could so you get focus from nearest to farthest, because obviously, with all images, there is going to be that range of nearest to furthest focus. And then if you pull your focus to go far away, you can lose some near and some things like that. And if you have a really extravagant scene, so it'd be really cool to see it be like, I'm going to take an image where I get everything that's close in the scene, like the shrubbery in focus, and then quickly snap to the background, take it, and I'm going to combine it in. And because they're doing multiple images, essentially, what's the sensor resolution on that?
On the R50, I think it's 24.
Okay, so you could stack 3 images, and then pull almost all the data out, and then end up with they could say, you know what, we're not going to use all 72 of that, but we'll use 50 of it, and you still have more data than just a single image. And we've combined 3 images, and once it's compressed, you still have a pretty high resolution image. And Canon's RAW is quite something.
Well, my issue
is, curious to see what they're doing once they compress it, though.
I'm using Panasonic Lumix cameras. I mean, I have one right now that does 4K, but it's got a fixed lens, but it does 30x zoom. But I use it for school events. So my kids are in a choir, and I could put it on a tripod and zoom in 30 times without having to change the lens out. So this new Canon one, I have the ZV-1. I love that thing for blogging and basic top-down shots. But Delvin, I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually, for that price, I might actually consider upgrading I like Panasonic. Most people don't. They have autofocus issues, but
yeah,
that might be something I could upgrade to. So,
yeah, and
sure.
I heard, look, they really upgraded that camera a lot for like I want to say vloggers or YouTubers. If you wanted something nice and cheap, you actually get 4K 60 up there, which is crazy.
Right.
It's sampled
wow.
sampled from 6K, so you're gonna get really good footage out of it.
There's no cropping. I don't think there's any cropping either, is there?
Well, besides there's being a crop sensor, yes, only crop sensor, but besides like it's no 4K cropping in the video itself. So
Right.
And then on top of that, you can do 180 slow motion. He actually showed that off in there too, but it's not worth the 180. The 120 is still good. The 180 is way too slow. You're looking like Flash if you do 180 and DC in the Justice League, because who knows why they got him running like that, but whatever. But yeah, it's a really good price, and I think that Canon really nailed the upgrade from the M50 to the R50. And
where will that be available?
That you get.
I'm
not even sure. A lot of the photographers got their hands on it right now doing pictures. I'm not sure. I've been going on Canon website trying to find out myself, because I definitely want to get my hands on that. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna buy it, and I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna pit it against phones and stuff like that and everything like that. I want to really pit the confrontational photography against it, but like I said, I'm not gonna be like using it for me. But if I hand somebody that camera, I'm gonna flip that switch. So
you're saying
instant photographers.
Yeah, instant.
You're saying your live stream view here is going to get a whole lot better. Is that what you're saying, Delvon?
Look. I was lazy today, so I didn't want to set up my camera.
Where's the red?
I'm literally using my MacBook camera. So y'all tell me.
You look pretty good. You look good, man. You look good.
A little light right here.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I try. I just was too lazy right now. I came home.
Listen, we appreciate the natural look. It makes you feel like one of the regular folks.
I don't want to be one of y'all. Next week,
wow.
I'm telling you.
Fair. That's fair. Okay. Damn. I'm not gonna. Didn't think I could feel any worse. I did a couple of minutes ago. Thanks a whole lot.
Sorry. I do love that. It's funny, like looking at everyone's screen here. Like you've got the color contrast. You've got the grays, the reddish, the blue, the yellow. You got the whole spectrum of colors just kind of like coming together here today, which I love. So listen, guys, that actually brings us to the end of tonight's TNT podcast. And, just for those of you who are listening for the first time, we are actually also available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, you name it. Wherever you find your favorite podcast, you'll find the TNT podcast. So we would love if you could subscribe, like, and do all that fun stuff. And we're back every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking everything we can possibly talk about. This week has just been a very interesting week in February, and it looks like we're in for an interesting couple of months in the tech space, and that always makes for some great conversation. So thank you very much, Delvon, 2NA, Sam, Jojo, Mike. Really appreciate you guys being here. You can catch us next week. As always, follow us on Twitter, and you can find us on Twitter, all us lovely faces and people here. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we will catch you on the next one. Cheers.
All right. Peace.